Hello everybody, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today I'm going to be painting a local building in watercolor on Bockingford tinted paper. So I'm going to edit this video so that there'll be a picture of what I'm painting, and then a picture of my result should be right there. This scene, so this is a local rice mill. I guess it's like a processing plant. It's been around for a really long time, kind of like a landmark in my hometown, Abbeville. I've painted it before. I've even got to the point where I had would sketch it or do paintings of it from memory, because you kind of got to that point where you start remembering the key features of what was important when you were drawing it. But it's been quite a while, and we've been getting a lot of rain. Yesterday was one of the first days we didn't have rain, and I was out longboarding, getting some exercise, and was going past it and decided to take some fresh photos. This paper is the Bockingford watercolor paper, tinted. It's either the cream or the oatmeal. I grabbed that because it was kind of paper that I already had cut to size. I kind of wanted to just jump into a video because later on today I got to go coach and take care of some other stuff. But I wanted to do something watercolor wise because we've been playing around with inks a lot. We've been playing around with oil paintings, all these different mediums. And, you know, it is Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Nobody's complained or anything like that. It's just I've been at that point where I wanted to do that. So we saturated the paper. The thing is with this paper, I have difficulty controlling the buckling on this paper. It's 100% alpha cellulose. So usually I'm painting on 100% cotton, and I find that not 100% cotton has issues wet and wet with that complete saturation where it wants to start buckling and bending and whatnot. But the thing is, I really like the tinted aspect of this paper. So that's that's the selling point of this paper for me. I don't buy it often, but I have a collection of it. I would like to see some 100% cotton papers out there that were tinted. I know Stonehenge, the Legion brand, makes the tinted paper for drawing, and I think it's 100% cotton. But maybe somehow they would hear this and could be persuaded to do that. So I really don't know how much of a market there is for tinted paper, tinted watercolor paper, especially since in the previous videos I've explored taking the Dr. P.H. Martin ink, tinting the paper with that, since it's waterproof, drying the paper and painting over that, and that was a pretty good effect. That's something I'll have to, you know, reapproach. What else needs to be discussed before we get started with this? I'll post downloadables on the Patreon for this, so you'll be able to access it if you want. By the way, I do have the Patreon where I would gladly appreciate y'all's support for this channel. But by simply liking, subscribing, and commenting, that helps this channel out as well. Getting close to 4,000 subscribers, which I'm looking forward to. It's people's response to the channel far exceeded my expectations, so I'm really excited about that. And then on the Patreon, I've been having people ask some wonderful questions, and it inspires me to approach different subject matter. Lately, this awesome woman has been asking about oil painting. And usually when I did an oil painting on this channel, it'd be time-lapsed. So to have somebody ask those questions and to know that there's a desire for oil painting videos out there, that was really cool. Okay, so I'm going to take ultramarine, and I'm going to use this to shape out my sky. You might be able to see a little bit of that buckle, that fold of the paper right there. During the introduction and the rambling, you can see there was quite a bit of difficulty of me trying to get that to lay down. Okay, so I'm going to kind of loosely go around the contour of this building. So I'm going to use this to put things in place. And since I'm wet and wet, I can lift relatively effectively to make my building a little bit more crisper if I want crisp edges. It's been a while since I've painted a building. So just still playing with that ultramarine blue. People often ask about this particular hake brush that I'm using. This is a Ron Ranson hake brush made by ProArt, which is, this is the medium. I've had it for been using it almost daily for 3 years now. So it is quite worn and quite aged. This is going to be the road shape. You got interesting triangle shapes taking place. So compositionally, we'll be here as our closest object, here, and then everything kind of recedes in both directions. So it'd be kind of a 2-point perspective painting. And I've never really, I think I might have touched on perspective a little bit with building paintings about a few years ago, but that's something that I need to approach as well. That's the fun thing, and the almost like, not the curse, I don't want to call it a curse of the painting channel, is that whenever you're doing something like this and you realize, okay, this one's going to have 2-point perspective in it where it's going to recede out, people might not know what 2-point perspective is, and then you think, oh well, you know, that's something I can film and talk about, which I would absolutely love to do. It's not like a curse, it's just while you're painting, you immediately start getting ideas for other things. This is some raw sienna right here, kind of mapping out that grass. And you'll see me constantly trying to get this paper to relax in some way, shape, or form. You could probably even go a little bit stronger with ultramarine in the sky. We got some burnt raw sienna on that brush as well, so that's getting in there. We could lift a little bit of texture out for clouds. Get a little bit more dynamic. Okay. So, where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about as you paint, you get so many other ideas. For example, the other day I was I've been playing a lot with the pen and ink sketches and ink washes of maps and local scenes like points of interest. And when I was prepping my paper, I've been taking India ink and feeding it into wet and wet on paper to kind of create like a antique vintage look for the paper. And I would sprinkle salt on it and other stuff. But applying that wet and wet of the ink inspired me to pretty much, I'm going to take some salt and apply some salt down here to get some texture. It inspired me to do an ink-based landscape. So here I am prepping paper for a drawing, a sketch, something that I had in mind. It was a local bridge. And within the first minute of prepping it, I already had ideas for something else that I wanted to work on. So that's the fun thing. Sometimes artistic wise, you can get into little slumps and you can start doing the same thing over and over again. It's very easy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But artistic slumps, I think we've all been there. I had a 4 or 5 year artistic slump. So it's a mixture of ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. I'm not really going to clean up those edges, so I'll just keep working them and playing around with it. And using this hake lets me kind of block in and create that shape. If you don't have a hake brush, you can use a flat, this is a flat brush for this portion. This is going to come out, and this building's closer right here, this ridge. Here's a lower little office building. So here is kind of just a little idea of what's going on, how I'm drawing everything in essentially, is that this point is closest to me. This guy recedes. The top of these, I guess it's like a conveyor belt almost over these bins, silos. That recedes as well. So those, if you draw an imaginary line, they would eventually reach that point together. Then down here we have this overhang which if we were to trace that back, it would eventually connect with those lines there. So that's a perspective line going to a point. Now, the 2 point, we see that we have this edge of this building here, the edge of the roof pointing down. We have this kind of quarter of this metallic building right here. We also have the edge of this guy before he starts turning to recede. Kind of like a loading dock, we'll call it that. This line, that line, and that line would eventually meet at a point over here. So we'd have 2 points that things are receding to. So we have a good outline shape of the building. So we have a good outline shape of the building. Could even just to start, I was just looking and seeing, we're about like 15 minutes in. I don't think I'm going to break this video up into parts, mainly because I said, you know, I have some coaching stuff today, some other things I need to do in preparation to a a farmer's market that we have coming up this weekend. So I'm going to try to get it done in one fell swoop, which I know a lot of y'all enjoy the broken down videos into the different segments. And I apologize that I'm not doing that on this one. I put light red oxide there. So I'm going to mix some ultramarine into it. This gives us a really nice distant purple, which I think will work for us to start getting the rounded edges of these far buildings and the what's that called? The silos. This tall building that's popping out behind it, I think that's like Broussard Brothers headquarters. I don't think there's any relationship to me. Like Broussard is the Smiths of the world, of the Cajun world, where it's just a common last name. These way darker underhang areas. Mix some burnt umber and ultramarine so we can start throwing in some intenser darks. But yeah, Broussard Brothers is an oil field company. I don't know if it's oil field or more the boats and the transportation aspect. This is the side that's going to recede. And then we have this loading port right here. But yeah, that's Broussard Brothers. Made this a little bit light. Dark, I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. And we're going to have that building right here, this little outcropping. So I'm going to lift that as well since it's so light. And I'll even start lifting that overhang. So we're wondering when I can pull that up. And let's see. We'll grab some raw sienna. My fiance's walking in to tell me something most likely.
What was it?
Well, this is, the rice mill.
Oh, in town.
Yeah, I remember how I painted it. I painted it a few years ago. I had a few requests from Rob Roy and other people. So when I was out longboarding yesterday,
you got some new pictures.
Yeah, and I'm filming it, and it's kind of as a tutorial where I'm gonna have the original image that I took, have the other image here, and it's kind of like a more storytelling type video about the area and all that. And just like right now, it's just me talking to you on the on the video.
Oh, sorry guys.
Okay.
I'm surprised how hard this got overnight.
Yeah, she's been playing around with the air dry clay, and she did a sculpture last night. So
it's not done yet.
It's not done yet. It's the first portion of a oh, I won't tell me what it is. We got Percy in here too, who's scratching the back of her leg. Are you okay, Percy?
I think she's fine.
You going to your dad's?
Yeah.
It's his birthday today.
Yeah. After practice, I have to go get him a cake.
Yeah. It's also Mrs. Sellers' birthday today too. Next door.
Mrs. Sellers or Mr. Sellers?
Mrs. Sellers. Our neighbor, Facebook told me that she turned 84 today.
Should I get her a cake like I did last year?
If you want to get a cake or a pie, I don't remember what we got her last year.
I got her the tiramisu cake last year.
Okay, yeah. Just to share with the video folk, our neighbor, Mrs. Sellers, is turning 84 today. And last year, we bought her a cake, and she's like, that's the first time any neighbor has ever got her something for her birthday.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and she's super sweet. Like, so it's not like she's, you know, me and our neighbors, all our neighbors are fantastic. So I think it just never happened right before. And then it did.
Kenneth is 64 today.
Yeah.
They were born 20 years apart.
Dang.
Isn't that crazy?
What type of cake are you going to get your dad?
I was just thinking of getting him a chantilly cake.
They have them at Walmart?
I was going to go to Rouse's.
You're going to go to Rouse's?
He likes the chantilly cakes.
Okay.
And then I was going to get them to put happy birthday on it.
Yeah. And then...
Carnell was going to make that cake, but then she didn't make it. Because my dad doesn't have any teeth, and it was going to have a bunch of pecans in it. And he can't eat pecans because he doesn't have teeth.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, if you see a pie or something, or like, for some reason I also think they like sherbet or sorbet or something. I know that they can eat that, or like the fruit bowls, like watermelons. I know that. I don't know, whatever you think, you know, you're good for them. All right, so am I going to meet you at practice, or am I going to meet you?
Practice is at 3, right? I should be able to come back and change my pants because I just have my joggers on.
Okay, and then I got to figure out if I'm going to go hand off the thing to Mr. John, the jewelry, the painting, and see if I go to Rob to pick up that for the other painting.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. If not, I could do it tomorrow. Okay, so.
I love that so far. Look, because I can see the picture and I know where you took it at. It looks like a medieval castle right now.
Yeah, because of how abstract I guess it is right now. Yeah, this one's just like kind of a slow build up. I'm just using the hake brush.
The hake?
Hake.
Hake?
H-A-K-E. Hake. Oh. It's really pronounced hake, like sake, but it's been anglicized, I guess, to hake. Though I'm always wondering what Mr. Henry Lee calls it, because he writes hake brush, but he's Chinese. Like, I mean, sake is Japanese, right?
Yes.
And they always say it's pronounced hake, like sake, which is Japanese, but Chinese rice wine is not sake. I don't think it's it's like a glutinous type thing. Okay, so I guess just shoot me a text.
Okay, let me know when you're done filming.
All right, I'll let you know.
It also kind of looks like the cat bus from
My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah. I didn't know if we were allowed to say it.
I don't know. All right, I'll see you later.
Percy, move, baby. You're blocking the path.
Okay, so I'm just going to lift up some highlights. Sorry for that, that short little side combo. When she leaves the house, I'll say what's going on. Her, unfortunately, and I kind of alluded to it in other videos, her father's on home hospice right now. So, it's been rough for her. They signed the do not resuscitate thing, just because he's been in and out of the hospital so much, and he's tired. And I know getting him a cake, it's she said chantilly cake. I'm not sure if that's kind of a local type of cake or not, but it's a cake with berries on it and the almond extract and everything. It's a really delicious cake. So her and her father, her mother, are letting him eat what he wants, but within reason. You know, it's not like, okay, now go out and drink a beer or something like that. You know, he's like I said, unfortunately he's on home hospice. It just took a little bit of lemon yellow, getting that green mix from it. There are some trees back in here, so I'm going to put those in. I'm going to push them a little bit on the bluer side of green, a little bit darker. And I can lift up around them. Yeah, so I think I had alluded to what has been going on in our personal lives in a previous video. Unfortunately, my brother, I think I had mentioned, he was in a motorbike accident. I don't know if it's 5 weeks at this point, and he broke both arms, so it's been a lot. Been a lot going on. I'm going to switch over to the rigger. I'm debating doing a wash dry off, or kind of just starting to crisp things up a little bit, do a little bit of lifting before we do the next stage. Kind of emphasize some of these lines a little bit better. Those are the two parts that recede. The bottom of the overhang, the top of the overhang. And if there's any highlights that I want to pull out. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to do a dry off. So I'm going to pause the camera and I'll be right back. All right, this should be dry enough. I did have these pieces of salt that I put out, so I use this brush. I'm using salt to kind of push things away from it. It says 2-inch plaid, Zhejiang, China. I'm not sure if I got it from like Walmart as just a bigger application brush, but it's great for scraping salt off of the painting. Usually I do that over the sink, not over the sink, over the trash can, because I don't want to get salt all over the floor or the table, but small enough area for me to do, just get that done there. So if you're at this point still watching, you know, with all our kind of distractions and changes in conversation, let me know, what do you think about this format, where it's kind of just more hanging out painting. I'm taking a dark mix of the burnt sienna and ultramarine and start making more specific shapes and ideas. I don't want that line to be like perfectly down, so I do some dry brushing, kind of catch it with that heel of it. I have this building down here. We even have some buildings that recede back here. Here's that edge that I've been talking about. This edge. That. We got a little bit of overhang. Then we get our Payne's Gray. First time using Payne's Gray in this painting. another little docking area underneath this weird addition to the building. And it obviously has to be something that was added on at a later date. Then we have this building. Kind of looks like an office. This is definitely an addition. It's definitely a different construction material. Put in our darker portions. There's a lot of interesting lines and metal supports and all that. We'll start playing around with those. We have a stop sign right here. I think that might be interesting to put in. Got a little bit of salt texture. It really didn't get that much. We're using coarse salt, which I'm wondering if I should switch over or experiment with just finer salts. This area is so terrible for longboarding. But I'll pass by on the left side of this building, and the road is just, it's cement but gravel, or it's just really rocky cement. It's the weirdest thing where it's almost when I'm pushing along, I have to keep my front foot that's on the board almost off the board in order to let it deal with all the jarring and the jumbling and all that from all the rocks and the gravel. Use paint spray to start just drawing these guys in. Power poles. And I think these features will start tying all the other features together. Here, some windows. Here's our corner. This is a train crossing. This accidentally made its way right into the middle of the paper. I can grab some light red oxide for that. So they still ship rice out of here, I believe. And we have all these metal structures that are coming out. This is What I'm referring to is the conveyor belt up here, but I'm not sure what it does. It runs along the ridge on top of the silos. It looks like a support structure, but I don't know what its purpose would be. That was hammy. Payne's gray to darken up that one side. The Broussard Brothers building. This is part of the factory. Let's go back to the hake. Just dry brushing the texture onto the road. So it's these cement slabs, and then if you go 2 or 3 blocks further down in, it is the cement slabs that were covered by asphalt, and the cracks between them are even worse than the cracks between these. You could dry brush texture over these buildings too. All right, let's see. I want this to have a little bit stronger presence. Same thing with this guy right here. A little bit of shadow. So if the light's coming from that way, we're going to push the shadow here, push the shadow out here. So I'm just building up, just having fun. And honestly, it's probably at a slow enough pace for you to get the major takeaways of how I'm approaching it. We have more of these metal girdles coming out. There's some Payne's gray to darken. All right. A little more definition to this guy. Let's do a pause. So I'll wrap this one up in a few minutes. There is, I guess, a lot left to be desired with this one. However, that being said, the bones are there. And now it's just kind of playing with texture, structure, and shape. You're, of course, more than welcome to follow along and to experiment and play around with these. I'll have the photo reference up on the Patreon if you need that. And yeah, you know, it's just the hake, a basic palette, the rigger. We used a little bit of salt, but that really wasn't necessary. It's a good starting point for a building. And if you want me to do more building stuff, let me know. And those will obviously progressively get better as I play around with more buildings again. When I was doing more like of a serious approach to buildings, I'm not saying I'm taking this one unseriously. It's just been a very relaxed approach. The back and forth process could take probably about maybe more like 2 hours instead of, I think, the 40 minutes that we're at with this. All right, one last try off. We'll put a mat over it and we'll see how it looks. All right, so it's dried. We'll find a place to sign it with a mat. We'll use the fountain pen. This is platinum carbon ink, which is a waterproof and pigmented fountain pen ink, but you got to be careful what pens you put it in. I think I have to tilt my angle a little bit so you see it. There we go. And I think right there would be a nice place for it. We'll sign it down in this corner. Well, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, let me know down below. Please, once again, consider supporting this channel. And I will talk to y'all soon. Have a great day.